and TalkPics.com. I'm Rob Kruger, and this is episode 65 with photographer Lyndsie Schlink.
Seeking knowledge, never stop learning. I learn almost every single day through my photography because no situation is alike.
Hey Photo World, today's featured guest is Lyndsie Schlink. Lyndsie, are you ready to share your story with Photo World out there?
I am.
Awesome. Lyndsie is a portrait photographer based out of Normal, Illinois. However, she has a full-time job in addition to her photography business. Today I want to speak to her about her full-time job. See, Lyndsie is the senior university photographer for Illinois State University. After completing her mass communication degree in 2004, Lyndsie continued with her photography and in 2007 started with ISU full-time. Lyndsie, welcome to Take and Talk Pics.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And we just want to hear about your story and the work you do for the college. Can you share a little bit more about yourself and your photography business?
Yes, some may know I got my bachelor's degree in ISU in 2004. I started out doing photography for newspapers as a photojournalist in 2003 to 4 in college, so 2 years in college, 3 years outside of college working for newspapers in Wilmington, Normal, Illinois, and Decatur, Illinois. And then I got the job here as a university photographer in 2007. So I'm going on my 8th year here, photographing events, portraits, kind of anything they need for the website, for print publications, our blog, Alumni Magazine. It's kind of any and everything that they need to promote the university. Photo
World, it really is any and everything. And she shoots a ton of stuff. I first met Lyndsie when I was a student at ISU, and I had the wonderful benefit of being able to work for her and shoot a few things alongside with a few other students. And that was where we first got connected, and I had a blast doing it. It was a really cool thing. But man, she works way too hard. I swear. There's too much stuff. Homecoming week is insane. Things like that are just crazy. And you're going 24/7 full-time all year round. So there's a lot of stuff to do, and there are positions out there that offer it. So just share with us what you have going on, how it's going, and how do you keep motivated? Do you have a quote or a mantra that you live by to keep it going for you?
For me, I try and live by the mantra that life is about moments. Don't wait for them, create them.
Very nice. Don't wait for them, create them. Amen to that. You got to put yourself out there. When we're creating moments, sometimes they're great. Sometimes they're difficult, and we're trying to push for these different opportunities. Can you share with Photo World a time where something was starting out, it seemed okay, but all of a sudden it didn't really work out the way it was supposed to, but you learned a lot from it? Some sort of failure moment story for us.
Probably for me, one of my toughest situations was back in college. A huge storm blew through Normal, and this was back in the day when digital was pretty new. So 2003, I was shooting with the D1 with the big clunky batteries. And as some people know, I had been out for hours shooting in the rain, had all these great shots, people trapped in cars, branches all over everything. And as some may know, if you took the battery out and put it back in, you would get a couple extra shots. So I was trying to get those last few shots before I had to run back to the office. And the last time I put it in, it wiped the entire memory card.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I lost every single disaster shot I had created. So it teaches me to sometimes be happy with what you have and don't try and push it. Just, accept what you've got and just, don't be greedy, I guess.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's crazy. That's insane. I didn't start with digital till 2005, so maybe they worked out a few of those bugs. That's crazy. I didn't know that was a thing. That's awesome to learn, one. Two, it kind of reminds us about memory cards today. There's this talk out there that if you fill up your memory card, it could lock and you can't get the images off. So I never fill a memory card, and it's kind of the same thing. Don't push too far. There's another memory card somewhere, Just be happy with what you got then and make the changes necessary, or know your gear. Maybe that's part of it. So that's a crazy story.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'd done it 100 times before and it had worked, and this was the one time where it just kind of had it on me. So, and
there probably wasn't as much information with those cameras at the time of like that's a possibility that it could wipe it or something. It was probably just, there's this little trick we know about. Go for it. Try it. So that's insane. So
recovery software was not as good then, so it did not work that time.
And probably even more expensive than it is today. So that's so bizarre. I love it. Like, it's a great story. It's terrible at the time, I'm sure, but it's kind of a cool thing to look back on and go, I can't believe that happened, because it's, it's definitely interesting hearing it, let alone living it. So when you're doing your shoots, when you're working out for the college and setting up all the shoots that you have and everything and producing the images and then publishing the images, putting them out where they need to go, what's the most important practice to your photography that happens every single time? One piece to your workflow.
I think for me, the most important thing is making sure that my subjects feel comfortable and important, getting them to relax so that you get their like true character and personality to come out through their images. So I try and just like talk to people, one-on-one, like, tell them I have their best interest in mind. This isn't going to take too long. So I just try and I feel like I have a really good way of making people feel comfortable. So they're represented in the best way.
And that makes sense. Photos. I mean, your subjects are not typical clients that find you, meet with you, get to know you, and then you photograph them. It's a department contacting you saying, we got this going on. Can you be there? You show up and you have to take pictures that are going to be compelling and helpful for the marketing or for advertising, whatever it is that's going to do the job. And the people, your subject matter, have to be okay with it in a second. It's crazy. So that's got to be huge and a difficult skill even when you get to meet with the people beforehand. So, I mean, you've probably really fine-tuned that. Do you have a few little tips that you go through in how you introduce yourself or just start the process of getting to know them?
Well, usually I try and because we have some people who come in so they know that they're going to be photographed. And so then I go through kind of maybe more cliche type of things where I'll allow people to smile on their own. And then if I'm not getting the reaction I'm looking for, then I kind of prompt them with, imagine you're on a beach on vacation. It's Friday night. You're 2 hours away from having a drink, or, think about babies, puppies, like just things to get people to smile with their eyes, because everyone thinks it's about their mouth, and it's really about getting your eyes to come alive in those shots. So that, if I don't see it with my eyes to yours, then to me, it's not real. So it's trying to work people through that so they can get in touch with like how to actually be happy and smile instead of doing what they think is just like going through the motions type of thing.
And giving them those little scenarios isn't really to sit there and imagine they're on a beach and on vacation. It's just to let them be distracted for a second, that there's a camera pointed in their face and they have to be looking good. It's too hard to look good in front of a camera. It really is. So you got to distract them a little bit. And you're right. All you have are your eyes, your mouth, and maybe your eyebrows. And those three little components are going to make your expression. It's amazing what we can do with our faces. It's almost creepy. So
yeah,
I think it's awesome. Like, you just got to get them thinking about something else so they can just be in a different little moment for a second, because that's all you need to capture. That's awesome. So for your work, what you do day to day, whether it be with your full-time stuff with Illinois State or your own portrait photography, what's one bad business habit that you would like to break?
Well, for me, I'm not very aggressive, so I don't really seek out clients. I just kind of get it through word of mouth, referral type of stuff. And as you'd mentioned, my primary job is working for the university, so my outside stuff is just kind of as I can fit it in. So it's mainly for friends and family. I'll do the occasional weddings, engagements, but mostly family and kid pictures. That's my bread and butter type of stuff on the side. So
it's hard to be aggressive because there's this weird line where you feel like you're being a little too pushy, where people just get turned off by it, versus just being confident in what you're doing and, making it known. Because the truth is, when we're running a business out there, most people just don't care. It's not like it's a horrible thing to hear. It's just, most people aren't out of their way looking for us, individual photographers specifically. It's very rare. Like you said, word of mouth is what gets people in for that kind of stuff. So it's just a matter of how you market, or if you go out and meet people and network and just start shaking hands with anybody around town just to introduce yourself so they might know somebody, because it's always some weird angle on how people find you organically rather than the marketing you're paying for. But there's got to be a way to not be super aggressive. I think I have the same problem. I don't want to get in everybody's face. It's like they hear what I do. I'm a photographer. That's great. Cool. And they're like, oh, that's so cool. It's an interesting job. And I kind of brush it off like it's not that big of a deal because it's normal to me, So what's the point of pushing in everybody's face? I don't know. So we have a wide range of photographers listening here, Lyndsie. Can you share with Photo World one thing that you think would lead to growth and success in a photography business, regardless of their current level?
Well, you kind of touched on it with, being aggressive or not, that, advertising is key. So it's key to figure out, make sure you have a social media presence. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram is becoming much bigger for photographers, using that as a medium. I also try and join online forums or like Facebook groups. Because for my university photographers, we have a private group. So we constantly share, what we're up to, projects we have, seeking creative ideas. So in my particular field, people are very friendly and willing to share. Whereas when you're a portrait photographer, like outside of an organization, I think it's much more competitive. So people aren't willing to share their ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for me, everyone is all for the greater good. They're wanting to make everyone their best self. So we're just constantly sharing stuff. And I think that's helped me grow a lot as a photographer, is being involved in that group. So on a daily basis, you see what everyone is up to. And I think it's a great resource. And it's a free resource. Everyone, has social media, and
right.
You might as well take it, use it to your advantage.
Right. Yeah, and there's a few groups out there that you can get good constructive criticism or offer good feedback to people. But you do find those groups where people view you as competition, so they just put you down the second you post something, or you feel you need to put them down because they just post something. It's not the way of it. It's like you said, you need that community, and you need the feedback back and forth, that everybody's kind of helping each other and lifting each other up. Because if you view each other as competition, yeah, good luck. It's too hard. I mean, when I'm already booked, I pass off my weddings to fellow photographers who I know. I don't try to hold on to it. There's no point. I'm not going to get it. So I help them out, and guess what happens? They're super nice, and send them my way when they're already booked, and it works out really well. It's better to just be people's friends instead of their enemies. It's a lot easier to be a friend.
Well, exactly, and you want the photography field to be as successful as possible. You don't want people doing, bad work,
right,
or putting them down when they really just needed someone to like inspire them,
right,
to reach that next level in their,
yeah,
their career.
And like you said, the whole community as a whole can lift each other up, because for a long while now, and I think it's still continuing today, but a lot of people are finding their way out of it quickly. It's just those very low budget shoot and burn photographers who will do anything and everything for you at such a low cost. And we all know that the quality doesn't really, do much. It actually is quite equal to what they're giving you, or charging for. So, I think it helps raise the bar for everyone if we kind of have this helpful community. Like, we're all a part of this together. We all want to make it. So don't compete. I don't know. I feel like I could go on this tangent for a long time, but let's move on instead.
Yeah.
So during photography careers and business careers in general, we have these aha moments, these standout moments where something hits us, a little light bulb goes off, we start to change things, and all of a sudden it's on the rise and success is coming to us, big or small, it's happening. And I don't think there's just one, but can you recall one aha moment, a time when that light bulb went off for you and you changed things for the better?
For me, actually getting this job here at the university was, my quote dream job 9 years ago when I was applying for jobs. Because working in newspapers, they were starting to lay off a lot of people, and it was day by day. It was, are you still going to have a job? So once I got this job, I knew that for one, my schedule would get better. I would get paid better, a lot more opportunities for being more creative with stuff. Because journalism, you can be creative, but here we're marketing, so every year we're trying to make it better and better and better to recruit those high achieving students. So for me, like when I got this job, that was just so exciting for me. Just the potential and the opportunities that lied in this.
And obviously it was a good land, because you've been there 8 years now. So I mean, that's what you wanted, and that's what you still want. That's cool. And I think it kind of offers a little bit of a hope out there to the photo world that there are staff jobs out there, very difficult to come by, very even harder to get. So if you're interested in it, you better be totally interested in that and that alone. Having your own photography business takes a lot of work and a lot of time. And, Lyndsie, what do you think? Are you putting a lot more attention into your full-time than you are into your photography business on the side?
Yeah, I put most of my time into my full-time job,
right,
because there's always something that's coming up that you're trying to do research for, come up with creative workflow. We have 6 graphic designers that I'm working with, so each person has specific needs or wants, different creative visions. So there's always that extra work you're doing outside of work to try and get prepared for those things.
So and like you said, you not not that you're not making it with your photography, you're just not pursuing it as much with your own business. You're doing it for family and friends of friends, just following it down the grapevine rather than, making that your industry, because you have something you're already passionate about and that you really pushed for in your full-time job, which is, one, I'm a little jealous. And two, it's really a great accomplishment. So, awesome. Nice job. I applaud you. Yay.
Thanks.
Can you share with Photo World a time where you kind of felt like this I made it moment? Again, I don't think there's one. If we had one, we would give up, we'd settle, we'd fall apart right afterwards. But, these little highlights where it's like, you know what? That's awesome. Like that's my picture, or that's my publishing, like something that kind of stood out.
I think for me, like I'd said about the online forum, like when you get like positive response from your peers for work, like when you put a lot of heart into a project and then you put it out there and people are receptive to it, I think that's such a wonderful feeling for people who are on your same level or, with much more experience who have an appreciation for what you've done. I think that's great just to see everyone else to enjoy what you've created. Right.
Yeah, critiques are scary. You put something up there, you're kind of putting yourself out there and you're freaking out. But once you get that positive feedback, I'd say that most of us feel like maybe that's what we're going for. But every once in a while, we feel like we just want honest criticism. And when you get the positive feedback, just looking for that, that's when hey, maybe I'm doing something right. Maybe I should continue this. Maybe I should try to replicate what I did for that shoot or that picture and continue on, because maybe it's adapting and finding my own style. It's really scary being critiqued and putting it out there and somebody saying, yeah, I'm not seeing it. I put on my work to a few different commercial agents because I wanted to turn that direction. I did not get good feedback. I got great feedback. I didn't get a great response because I'm not there yet with the commercial stuff. And that's okay. It takes time, and I wasn't pursuing it very much. I was just doing a little on the side and pursuing my weddings. It happens, Keep going, do what you got to do, and improve along the way. So as we're trying to improve, it's good to hear something helpful to running our business, to making better pictures, to learning how to network, something along those lines, anything really. Lyndsie, can you recall during your photography career so far, what was the best advice you've ever received?
I think networking is probably the key thing. It's just constantly meeting people, find out what they're up to, what inspires them, seeking out new equipment. I think that's really key too. It's just, taking chances.
Taking chances and taking names, like you gotta network and you gotta go out and risk it a little bit, because if you don't, where's the reward? It's sitting there with you not trying. That's what happens. So you gotta go for it. Nobody else is going to do it for you. That's the sad part. You have to be full in and go for it. But that's great and true. Very true. And networking, man, it's a simple little word and it has so much going on in it, doesn't it?
It does.
It's crazy. It's not just, hey, I'm Rob, what's up? You gotta let them know who you are, what you do, and what you can do for them. Find out what feedback you can get from people. You have to play every part, and you can't be selfish. That's the difficult part about networking. A lot of people go out and, I'm just going to network and introduce myself, and I'm going to be the popular one. Yeah, that's not the point. You're going to miss the point.
Well, it's hard too, because I think most people innately have a fear of failure. Mm-hmm. So you're always worried about how people feel about you, what they're going to think. Yeah. And so you just don't do it, because it's easier just to be comfortable than to push yourself out there and see what could and might happen.
Yeah. Geez, I'm afraid every day. And sometimes you just got to kick it in the face and go for it. Why not? What's the worst that happens? Somebody says no. Somebody tells you you're not good. That's really as bad as it gets. So it's not like, we can all get over fear right now, but don't be as afraid as you have been. It's not worth it. It's a simple downer for a second. You move on if it doesn't work. If it does work, hey, look at that. Try something else. Keep going. Don't get hung up.
Exactly.
So we have a lot of earlier photographers. I'm doing the Fundamental Fridays now, and they're learning how the camera works and kind of different things like composition and stuff. And getting a lot of feedback in that area. What would you suggest to those starting out? What would be like the first thing you would do to begin your photography business?
Wow, the first thing I would do. I'm glad I'm not starting out.
Amen.
because it's very hard because there's so many people that are wanting to be photographers, and people, I hate to say it, but I think people have lowered their standards a lot because they're like, hey, so and so can do it for this price, let's just go ahead and get it done because they're available, where people aren't willing to wait, or invest in the people who've been in the business for years. So
Right.
I think just if I was going to be starting out, I would just start kind of like how I did to begin with my friends and family. Test them out first.
Right.
Find some cute kids, people and their dogs, or cute couples, and just shoot a bunch of stuff for free, just so you can build up your portfolio to show people what your potential is, and then use that to start marketing yourself, so you can show that you've proven what you can do, and then you can always go up from there.
Definitely. This is a saying that goes back probably a lot longer than I do. And I heard it for the first time when I was in an interview for teaching at the College of DuPage. And they asked all the questions. I answered to the best of my ability. And then the guy looks at me and he goes, well, the proof is in the pudding. So let's have a look at your work. So we start looking at my photography. And it's true. You can't book a wedding if you've never shot a wedding. And how do you do that? It's not really great to say, I'll do it for free. What are you going to get there? What kind of pressure are you going to be under? But maybe assist somebody. See if you can second shoot and still have some usage rights on your images. You got to put your foot in the door somewhere, and you got to just get started. That portfolio building is huge. That's enormous. Because if you don't have anything, if there's no pudding, there's no proof. So
It's very true.
Totally true. Totally true. So do you have an app or an internet resource that you could share with Photo World you think they could benefit from knowing about?
Oh, an app?
Or an internet resource?
I mean, really, I think just Instagram itself is a great resource, just because it's really become a lot about photographers now, because there's so much work you can see there, and you can see a lot of it very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's the best thing, but I think the different apps where you can shoot wireless are really key now, so you can get instantaneous feedback for clients. Hey, this is what you look like. Do you want to adjust anything? And we're shooting digital, so we might as well take it to that next level where they can see a larger image there. So regardless of whether you're shooting Nikon or Canon or something else,
there's something
invest
out there.
in that.
Yeah.
Something, yeah.
That's awesome. And you're right. I think Instagram and other social media are great. And you're saying, I don't know if it's the best one, but realistically, in my warped way of looking at things, I guess, I would say that if you decide, you being anyone out there, Photo World, decide, hey, Instagram is the best app to use right now, then you're right. And stick to it. Be diligent and, keep up the production value of your Instagram account. And don't worry about Twitter for a while. Don't worry about Facebook. It's hard to cover everything. You can't always be everywhere. It's nice to be everywhere, but it's not always possible. So just master one of them and then grow and add another one and be, I'm going to tweet about it too. So you got to add on. You can't just, I'm going to do everything, because you'll run it great for a month and then all of a sudden you don't use any of them. Play it smart. I like to find out where people come from, what kind of pictures they're into, what kind of photographers they're into. Could you share with us a couple photographers that might have inspired you in the past?
Well, originally, I say when I was first starting out, I was because I started as more of an art-based photographer before I got into journalism. So like the old type things, like I was huge into Ansel Adams, James Noctway. He does a lot of stuff. Annie Leibovitz is a great portrait photographer. I love concerts also, so I follow a lot of people. The name is slipping my mind, but he photographs for Bon Jovi.
Okay.
I can't remember who he is, but he does a ton of different stuff, and he does a great job. People who are able to get full access to anything can produce the greatest shots. I don't have a whole lot of names, but mainly I just try and follow a lot of stuff, like I said, on social media, and just try and keep up with what people are doing. Because you can find inspiration from the most basic everyday people.
Right.
Just because you're not a big name doesn't mean you don't produce great things.
Right.
So
in fact, there's a lot of amazing photographers out there who no one knows about, and you just happen to fall upon it somehow, some way, in the one time they got shared, almost virally or something on Facebook. It's different every time, and you come across it just browsing Instagram, whatever. There's tons of great stuff. So yeah, like you said, there's a lot of good photographers out there, a lot of good classics and great big names, but just look around. There's tons to pull inspiration from. Not to mimic or copy, because they've already done it, but to pull inspiration from. So when you're shooting, obviously you need the camera. Let's ignore that part. What is your favorite piece of gear, the one that you could just not live without?
I say my go-to lens is my 17 to 55 2.8. So I like to get right in the middle of the action so I can get like the true participant perspective at all the events I go to. So that's my favorite lens.
Yeah, 17 to 55, you get a little wide angle there. You kind of come just past the normal human eye perspective there. If 55, it's just a little beyond, right? So that's a good one. Yeah, I haven't heard that one. Everybody else is on 85. Is I think the only other lens that's really been brought up.
Oh, 85 1.4.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Or they're 1.2 if they're Canon. When we're doing this, we don't just sit there and do the same thing every day. It changes up. Is there a recent or an upcoming project that you've been working on you're really excited about?
This past year I followed around a freshman band student through band camp through the first full year. So that's featured actually on the cover of our Illinois State University alumni magazine.
Nice.
And that was great because they got to go to Indy for a band competition. Our football team went to nationals in Texas. So he really got a very unique experience as a freshman. So that was a lot of fun to do, like a full, length photo story.
Right.
On him. So that's something we were just trying out to see if we can apply it to a different subject in the future, athlete, someone in particular major where there's a lot of growth and development over that first year.
Yeah.
In
that's
college.
Pretty cool.
So
that's pretty neat. So is there like an article online or something we can get the link to on your show notes page here? Or
I think it should be on our story site.
Okay.
I think it's stories.ilstu.edu.
Cool. Well, Photo World, I'll make sure I'll get that link there for you on the show notes page so you can take a look at the project and kind of pieces of it and what happened there because it sounds really neat. And I was a band geek in high school and stuff, so I can totally appreciate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome. So before we wrap it up, because we're getting close here to the end, can you share with Photo World one parting piece of guidance and then the best way that we can reach you, whether it be your website or some sort of social media, and then we'll say goodbye?
Sure. I think one of the best pieces of advice I was ever given is to always keep a camera on you. I know everyone has their cell phones now, but I always try and keep, a nicer point and shoot type of camera in my car. So if anything ever comes up, then you're ready to take action at any moment. So that, and just to never stop seeking knowledge, never stop learning. I learn almost every single day through my photography because no situation is alike, no person is alike, so no lighting situation is alike. So every day is a challenge, So just, seek out those online forums, keep pushing yourself to take chances. Don't be afraid to fail, and just do things for yourself. If you're happy, then really that's the most important because you're not ever going to please everyone else. But if you're satisfied with yourself at the end of the day, then I think it's been a successful day.
Yeah. And then where can Photo World find and follow what you're doing?
I am on Instagram as Lyndsie Photo, and on Facebook I have a page called Simply Lyndsie. My website is simply-lyndsie.com, or you can go to ilstu.edu, ilstu.edu. That's where most of the stuff gets posted for the university, and all of our Illinois State University Facebook. We're on everything. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. I run a Tumblr account for university also, so I post all my top shots from each of the events there to try and reach out to the students.
Well, Photo World will have her links and the ones for Illinois State, as well as the social media, everything we can get to you. So that way, if you can't find her directly or follow what she's doing, we'll have everything in one spot on takeandtalkpics.com. Type in Lyndsie in the search bar. Her show notes will pop right up, and you can find it all there. Lyndsie, I cannot thank you enough for your time today and sharing such great value. Photo World thanks you, and happy shooting.
Thanks.
Hey, Photo World, thank you for being here. And I always love talking about books, and I love reading to educate ourselves. I think it's very important that we do so. If you're interested in getting a new book, a free book, an audio book, hello, we love audio. You're listening to a podcast. If you want a free audiobook, I can help you out. Go to taketalkbook.com. You will receive one free audiobook and 1 month free subscription to audible.com. Takeandtalkpics.com. Thank you again for joining us today, and we really appreciate you stopping by. Make sure you share this with your friends and photo family out there. We'll see you next time. This is Rob Kruger. Happy shooting.